everybody. I am happy to welcome Brian Caron. He will give us an overview of the United States legal plan market. Welcome, Brian. You are the current president of the US Group Legal Services Association, GLSA, and you have worked in the legal plans industry for over 20 years in a number of different capacities. You began in private practice in Cleveland, Ohio, became a private attorney in the mid-90s, and before you recently returned to private practice, you worked for Hyatt Legal Plans, which is now MetLife Legal Plans, and you were also the general counsel for Debt Cleanse. I am absolutely thrilled that you are here now in your capacity as GLSA President. Thank you so much for telling us about the United States legal plans market.
Morning, and thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. The Group Legal Services Association is a subset of the American Bar Association, and we're really a trade group that brings together plans, your attorneys in those plans, and it really is just to benefit the entire industry, to share ideas, to talk about growth, to talk about what works. As far as myself, I'm fortunate enough to be the current president of GLSA. I am an attorney in private practice in Ohio for McGuire, Snyder, and Hassey, who's part of the Legal Shield Network.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just tell us a bit, how big is the legal plan industry in the U.S.?
Currently, GLSA has a couple of hundred active members, which includes all of the major plans in the United States, as well as a number of attorneys who participate in those plans.
Okay, thank you. Legal plans also exist outside the US, or is it something that's very unique for the United States?
Legal plans, to the best of my knowledge, do exist in other countries. I know there are some legal plans in Canada. I know there's legal plans in Mexico. There are legal plans, very smaller legal plans, kind of startups, if you will, in other parts of the world. And it's a legal plan, which I suppose we can differentiate a little bit, a legal plan versus legal insurance, which, of course, as you know, is largely popular in your part of the world.
Okay. Do you know by any chance how many US citizens or households are really covered by legal plans? How many people benefit really from this in the US?
So the most recent statistics from the American Bar Association suggest that it could be as many as 70 million Americans have a legal plan of one kind or another. And when I first saw that number, I actually started to wonder, was that number really accurate? When you consider like Legal Shield has 4.4 million members, you have MetLife legal plans, Iraq legal plans, like, okay, you start to think, well, gee, 70 million, we could be a long way off from that. But when you think about the smaller plans that are out there and people that have coverage maybe for just the preparation of a simple estate planning document or for some other fairly small legal matter, 70 million is probably accurate.
Can you tell us a bit what a legal plan really is and who benefits from it? What do people get out of a legal plan?
And is giving the consumer access to an attorney that they might not ordinarily come across. When someone has a legal issue, they're really uncertain as to where to turn. How do I find an attorney that can help me? By having access to a legal plan, they know that, hey, the lawyers in this network, they've been vetted. They're in good standing with the Bar Association. They have malpractice insurance. They have some experience. So they have some confidence when they pick up the phone or they send an email to get an answer to a question that, hey, this is an attorney that can help me. And if this is an attorney that can help me, that attorney can then refer me to someone who can. Okay. That really is the biggest advantage to a legal plan, in addition to potentially the cost savings, depending on the representation that's needed.
That's quite exhaustive, actually. How much does a legal plan cost? How much do you pay?
It really depends upon how much the legal plan is going to cover. You could have a legal plan that runs literally maybe $5 or $10 a month. for something fairly simple and basic to maybe something that runs $35 or $40 a month that's more comprehensive, that provides more hours of attorney time, deeper levels of coverage, that kind of thing. So it really depends upon how, how much service you're looking to acquire.
I see. You have been repeatedly referring to attorneys. What is the role in this whole system? What do the attorneys do? How are they connected to the legal plan or the consumers?
So the attorneys agree to be part of a legal plans network. Generally speaking, the attorneys agree to be part of the network and take the referrals. And in exchange, they give back to the plan and ultimately to the consumer either some kind of discount or a reduced rate. They know that, hey, my payment is guaranteed from the plan, or they know I'm getting a certain number of referrals. And in exchange, the attorney is willing to discount the cost of their services. Ultimately, for an attorney, it can be a new client for whom you never needed to advertise for. The consumer is going to look up the attorney either on the website or get referred. And so they know my phone's going to ring, and they didn't have to spend anything in advertising to make that phone ring to potentially meet with a client.
I see. When you compare legal plans with legal insurance, where do you see the differences?
Difference is with a legal plan, you don't need to have experienced an event to decide you're going to access your plan. With legal insurance, my understanding is you need to have experienced a fortuitous event that then gives rise to saying, hey, I want to use my insurance. Where they can be as simple as, I want to update my estate planning, and therefore I want to contact an attorney. That really a fortuitous event didn't happen for the consumer to decide, hey, I want to access my plan. For example, even just earlier today, this morning, I had a consultation with somebody that had a question about dealings with their mortgage company. Nothing's happened. They just had a question because they were wondering about their contract and interest rates. It was just something they were curious about that they wanted to get a lawyer's opinion on.
Okay. One question also, insurances are heavily regulated. How are legal plans regulated in the United States?
Legal plans are regulated a few different ways in the United States. In fact, legal plans are regulated by state. So there are some states that don't regulate a legal plan at all. There are some states that deem the legal plans to be insurance and call it an insurance product, usually under property and casualty. And there are some states that regulate a legal plan by some other government oversight. Generally speaking, a bar association or an attorney general or some other consumer type watchdog group. There is not a standard way in which legal plans are regulated. And I kind of joke, I say, well, there's 50 states and therefore there's 50 different ways to regulate legal plans.
Well,
which is
we are complaining in Europe about 27 different jurisdictions. I suppose it's not really that easy in the US either. Right. So I would really like to ask you more as a final question. Brian, do you think that legal plans and legal insurances can really learn from each other? Is there anything that you do better or that legal insurance do better? What do you think?
I absolutely think we can learn from one another. It is interesting when I've looked at the different systems, because our legal systems are so differently, that inherently impacts how we have to set up the business aspect of it. But that being said, certainly you can always learn something from colleagues in terms of how do they do it and why do they do it that way. I think this is just the beginning of a great relationship, and I'm excited about what we're going to be able to learn from one another.
Great. Thank you, Brian, very much for this very interesting interview. And also thank you for presenting legal plans to our members during that webinar. So I also look forward to a great cooperation with GLSA. Thank you very much, Brian.